Ever wonder why some projects just seem to fly while others, well, they just faceplant? A lot of the time, the answer is hidden in how they're managed. So today, we're going to unpack the story of how project management went on this incredible journey, from rigid old school blueprints to the super flexible, adaptive frameworks we use now.
And it all kind of starts with this classic, totally counterintuitive idea. See, way back in 1975, Fred Brooks dropped this bombshell in his book, The Mythical Man Month. He said that the knee-jerk reaction to a late project, just throw more people at it, doesn't just not work, it actually makes things worse. This one thought really hinted that there was a massive flaw in the traditional way of thinking. So why does this happen? Well, it's a concept called communication overhead. Just think about it for a second. Every single person you add to a team doesn't just add one more communication line. The number of connections absolutely explodes. Suddenly you've got more meetings, more emails, more time just getting the new folks up to speed. Instead of speeding up, the project just grinds to a halt under its own weight. This was a puzzle that desperately needed a new solution.
All right, so here's our roadmap for this story. First, we'll step into the old world of perfect blueprints. Then, we'll see what happens when those plans collide with reality. Next, we'll explore the new agile philosophy that rose from the ashes, check out the modern toolkit it gave us, and finally, we'll talk about how you can choose your own adventure in today's world of projects.
Okay, our story begins in a world that valued one thing above all else: prediction. I want you to picture building a massive skyscraper. You wouldn't just start laying bricks without a detailed floor-by-floor blueprint, right? Of course not. Every single beam, wire, and window is planned out before anyone even breaks ground. For decades, this was the exact mindset for project management. Now, this is officially known as the predictive approach, but you've probably heard it called waterfall. The core belief here is that you can, and you absolutely should, define the entire project scope, timeline, and budget right at the very beginning. Everything flows downwards, sequentially, just like a waterfall, from one phase to the next. And the ultimate symbol of this world? The Gantt chart. This was the master plan, this beautiful, intricate document that scheduled every possible task from day one all the way to the final launch. On paper, it was a perfect, predictable road to success. But what happens when that perfect plan smacks right into the messy, unpredictable real world? Well, this is where our story gets really interesting. This is where we start to see the cracks forming in that solid, predictable foundation. Remember that communication overhead Fred Brooks warned us about? Turns out, that was just one symptom of a much, much bigger disease. The hard reality was, tons of projects were suffering from the same old problems. Budgets would just balloon, deadlines were a moving target, and to ship anything, features had to be cut. Teams got stuck in what we call the 90% done trap, where that last 10% takes just as long as the first 90. It was a mess. And all this led to a really dangerous problem. People started confusing the process with the actual goal. Teams would get so lost in creating these perfect Gantt charts and status reports that they'd forget the whole point was to build a great product. The process became the project, and the real work, the thing that delivered value, kind of took a back seat.
But out of all this frustration, a totally new philosophy was born. The idea was, think less like a skyscraper architect and more like a scrappy tech startup in a garage. Instead of trying to predict the future, the new goal was to adapt to it. Welcome to the adaptive approach.
Now, Agile isn't just one single method. It's a whole mindset. Its number one priority is to make the customer happy by delivering valuable stuff early and often. And it works on a really simple, powerful assumption. You just can't know everything at the start. So instead of fighting against change, Agile actually welcomes it. It sees change as a chance to make the product better. So if you boil it all down, the critical difference is this. The predictive world says, follow the plan no matter what. The adaptive world says, respond to change, because that's how you get the best outcome. It's a completely different way of looking at the world of work. So how does this actually work? Well, it's all about short, repeated cycles called iterations. You build a small working piece of the product, then you get it in front of actual customers to get their feedback. You learn from what they say, you refine your ideas, and then you do it all over again. This little loop, build, get feedback, refine, repeat, is the engine that drives Agile. Of course, a new philosophy like this needed a completely new set of tools. And I don't just mean software, I mean new concepts and new frameworks for how we organize work,
and how we talk to each other.
First up, the backlog. This is the anti-Gantt chart. Instead of a static, set-in-stone plan, the backlog is a living, breathing, constantly changing list of everything the product needs. It's prioritized, with the most valuable stuff right at the top. This makes sure the team is always working on what matters most right now, not just following a plan they made a year ago. Next, there's Kanban. This is an awesome way to visualize your workflow. You put all your tasks on a board, and you can literally see where work is flowing smoothly and where it's getting stuck. But the real magic of Kanban is its core rule: limit your work in progress. It sounds weird, but by focusing on finishing tasks instead of constantly starting new ones, you get so much more done. And to keep all that work flowing smoothly across the Kanban board, you have the daily stand-up. It's a super quick 15-minute meeting where the team syncs up on progress and, this is the most important part, calls out anything that's blocking them. It's not a status report for a manager, it's a huddle for the team to solve problems together, fast. And look, this whole shift from rigid plans to flexible frameworks isn't just some fad, it's now the industry standard. Even the Project Management Institute, the folks who publish the official rulebook, the PMBOK Guide, they completely overhauled their latest edition to embrace this new reality. So instead of a long list of rigid processes, the new PMBOK is built around 8 flexible performance domains. Just look at these names: team, delivery, and get this, even uncertainty. This is a huge deal. It's not about following a checklist anymore. It's about focusing on core principles, like making sure stakeholders are happy and actually planning for uncertainty that help you deliver value no matter what method you're using. And the single most important concept driving this whole modern view is tailoring. This is all about empowering teams to deliberately adapt their approach. It's the official thumbs up that says there is no one-size-fits-all method. The real goal is to pick and choose the right tools for the job you're actually doing. Which brings us right to our conclusion. The great shift in project management isn't about one method winning and another one losing. It's about having a much, much bigger toolkit to choose from. So, the big takeaway here is not that waterfall is bad and agile is good, not at all. It's that truly effective modern project management is all about creating a hybrid approach. It's about understanding the core principles behind both predictive and adaptive models so you can build a custom system that actually works for your project and your team. So, I'll leave you with this one question to frame your thinking from now on. Is the thing you're building more like a skyscraper where all the requirements are known and fixed from the start? Or is it more like a startup where you're discovering the solution as you go? Your answer to that question really dictates your entire approach. Because ultimately, this great shift is a move away from just being a rule follower to being a true strategic thinker. The best project leaders today don't have one single playbook they rely on. Instead, they have the wisdom to ask the right questions, and from there, build the right process to get the job done.